Last year was one of the Earth's warmest on record. Over the past year, there have also been extremes at the other end of the scale. Who can forget January's polar vortex triggering sub-zero temperatures in every American state? Well, Chris Fawkes from BBC Weather has the details for us now. Chris, what have you been finding?
Well, John, yes, according to the World Meteorological Organization, 2013 was the 6th hottest in history. That's equalled 2007. Compared with average temperatures between 1961 and 1990, last year the temperature of the air and land was about half a degree Celsius warmer. It was the hottest year ever in Australia, and the United States hit a record in June with 53.9 Celsius in where else but Death Valley. At the opposite end of the scale in July, satellite analysis of the atmosphere in Antarctica registered minus 93 Celsius, the second coldest temperature ever recorded. Are we looking at a period of extreme weather? And is the changing climate responsible for this? Claire Marshall reports.
What an extraordinary year for the world's weather it's been so far. Storms have battered the UK with record rainfall in parts of the country and thousands affected by flooding. A polar blast hit the US and Canada, sending temperatures diving by as much as 45 degrees in a matter of hours. Last year was the hottest ever in Australia, the weather maps had to be redrawn, and the heat waves persisted into January. Can these events be linked? So let's have a look at the figures. This red line shows how the Earth has been warming and the projected rise in temperatures. This white line shows the actual figures. Note how there hasn't been much of a change in the last 15 years. But how could this long-term trend be having an effect on our weather? Here in London is a good example of the kind of exceptional nature of the weather we've been having. This is the Thames Barrier. It was built to defend London from floods around 30 years ago. During that time, it's been raised some 130 times, but last month it was raised 13 times over 13 consecutive high tides. But the weather is always changing. That's why we have a daily forecast. Can we call these events extreme?
When you look around the world, what you've got to do is to look not just what's happening this month or the previous month, but look over a period of years. And when you do that, you do see that there has been more extremes of climate, more extreme temperatures, and also more heavy rainfall events. And that's entirely consistent with our understanding of how the climate system responds as it warms up.
Typhoon Haiyan is thought to be the fiercest typhoon to have ever struck land. It hit the Philippines in early November. An estimated 6,000 people were killed. Haiyan struck almost exactly a year after another storm hit the country, killing 2,000. Two typhoons of astonishing power. Can we say that this is the result of climate change?
If you look at all the events that we've seen over the last 12 months, many of them actually fit with what we would expect from climate change. However, some of them will be just that natural variability in weather that we see. However, because of the number, because of the frequency, these are not random, rare events now. These are common events. So we are breaking the world records for heat waves, for hurricane strength, for flood duration every single year.
The science is still evolving. It's at the extreme ends of the Earth that the research is taking place to continue trying to answer all the questions posed by climate change. Claire Marshall, BBC News.
Yeah, and Chris has joined me now in the studio. Chris, we've always had weather. When do we say that weather changes move into something that's changing about the climate?
I suppose looking at climate, we're looking at a 30-year record of weather and how that changes over time. So taking, say, the period from 1961 to 1990, comparing that with a period from 71 to 2000 and so on. So you can compare climate changes over quite a long time. And there do seem to be some changes going on in the Earth's atmosphere as well.
And so when you say changes in the Earth's atmosphere, is global warming the right title to give it? Because what we seem to be describing is not where everything's getting warmer. Sometimes it's far colder, it's far windier, it's far wetter, it's far hotter, and just every extreme seems to be more polarised somehow.
It's a fantastic point. Really hit the nail on the head. It's a global phenomenon. So we've got people on Twitter in North America saying global warming, because they're having a cold year. But this could be related, actually, to global warming. It's certainly related to our weather pattern here in the United Kingdom. We're having incredibly wet, probably one of the wettest winters we've ever seen, very, very windy. So how's it related? Well, the global climate system isn't heating up at a uniform rate. The poles are heating up much faster than the equator, for example. And when we look at the weather patterns, the jet stream is powered by temperature contrasts. So if the contrast between the tropics and the poles are getting less because of this uneven distribution of heating of the Earth's atmosphere, then what might happen is the jet stream might slow. If that happens, we get a longer wave pattern like this. The whole jet stream becomes much slower moving. Or in other words, you can get weather patterns stuck for a number of months. Does that sound familiar? North America getting the cold weather. We've had a couple of months solidly of rain now. So this could be actually partly related to climate change.
Yeah, and just how exceptional have the last few months been? Or is that kind of not what we should judge it by? Because it has felt, I mean, you know, here on Global we kind of make a feature of, you know, started trying to work out what is happening on a daily basis around the world with the weather. It does seem dramatic what we've been reporting.
Absolutely, and it's incredibly complicated, as you'd expect for a rotating ball of fluid with differential heating. That's essentially what the Earth's climate system is. We're talking about thermodynamics. It's hugely complicated. We can't attribute any one weather event to saying this is definitely as a result of climate change. But what you have to do is look at the big picture. You have to look at the temperature change over a number of decades and see if there's a trend. And at the moment, there does seem to be an upward trend. But that's not to say that in years, you know, in the next year, we could get really cold in the United Kingdom, for example, or really cold in the United States. That doesn't mean that it's not globally warming related. You're always going to get these patterns of natural climate variability within the overall package of global warming with generally rising temperatures.
Fascinating stuff, Chris. Thanks so much for explaining it and explaining it so clearly. Brilliant stuff. Thank you.